want to talk for a second about an incident that happened to me or by me some time ago, a good part of a decade ago now, but I learned a lot from this event, so I figure others may be able to learn from my mistake. And I just want to talk about this specific meter in case anyone has this unit and is using it for checking voltages. This is an Extech earth ground resistance tester, which we used for that purpose, but it also is a Cat 3 1000 volt rated meter, and it's got a 750 AC volt scale on it, 1000 volts DC. And so we were using this when the event happened that blew it apart. We were checking line-to-line voltage on a 600 volt three-phase motor control center, and I was just showing some students the operation of that motor control center. And we had installed the meter in such a way that the meter leads were coming out through a grommet, an insulated grommet, and coming through to the meter, and the meter was supported with a strap, and I didn't have any intention of approaching it. But probably mistake number one is at that time I hadn't had any training regarding fused leads. Well, I still haven't had any training regarding fused leads, but this certainly served to whet my appetite to diving into some codes and regs relevant to this type of work. And in this particular case, I was using the leads that came with the meter, which were clip-on leads, and they were very handy for the installation. And so we used those, and we were reading the voltage on here. It was 615 volts, I remember, and on the 750 AC scale. But then issue number one arose after about 10 minutes of testing. The screen went blank. I assume there's a circuit in here that times it out, probably to save the battery or whatever. But during that testing, we looked and couldn't see the voltage anymore. And there's no sort of button on here to bring the display back. There's a light, but neither of those bring the display back. The only way to get the display to come back on is to cycle to off and back to voltage. And I took a glance at the meter. I'd used it a fair number of times, and I saw the green band here, 750 volts. And on the yellow-orange side over here, you've got resistances, 2000 ohms, 200 ohms, 20 ohms, and earth voltage. But on this side of the off switch, for whatever reason, they put this 200 kilo ohms range. So there's a resistance check over here in the same color green as the voltages on this side of the off switch that you have to cycle through to get the display to come back on. So I did that, and of course you can imagine when I got to the resistance scale being connected to line voltage, bang, there was basically a pop like a gun going off. And I did have my voltage rated gloves and other PPE on that saved me from anything but a fright at the time. And but basically the meter seemed to do its job in containing the explosion. It didn't actually pop this far open. I've opened it up to have a look inside and see what happened, and basically the common lead from the terminals on the end here to the circuit board vaporized inside here, and it just left a bunch of blackened soot inside the meter case, and melted some of the solder off of the printed circuit board. But the wire itself, there was no evidence of where it went except for being vaporized into smoke. So that's my experience with the meter. Since that time, I've obviously done some research and found out that, hey, fused leads are a really, really good idea. And so now I use fused leads at basically any voltage, and in this type of installation it would have certainly helped, because the fuses inside the leads would have absorbed the issue. I'm assuming they would have, but I still don't take full blame, because I think this is misleading here, the way they've first of all, had the screen timeout and no discernible way to override that. You can't like hold a button down when you turn it on to keep it from timing out. And so this meter seems to work okay for earth resistance testing, although I'm kind of confused on the instructions for that, but we have been able to get some meaningful readings that way. But I wouldn't use this for a voltmeter. Again, if I possessed one, there's just, to me, that's just a little bit of an oversight. But I learned a lot from that event, so hopefully this story helps somebody or starts a discussion about meter safety in where you work. Thanks.